I'd heard of medlar trees, but didn't encounter any until my friend Felix decided to plant several along one of our bike paths. I eagerly awaited the ripening of their fruits, which I knew were the last ones to appear as autumn gave way to winter. When I prepared a few, I liked how the pulp tasted like applesauce, but between the 5 triangular seeds that take up most of the space and the small amount of pulp, I placed them in my fun to try, but not worth it category, until last year, a few days before Thanksgiving, we shopped at our local co-op. As we entered the store, there was a basket full of medlars. Wait a minute, medlars? I thought these weren't well known, yet here they were. I noticed a sign which said they were from Scott Farm in Dummerston, Vermont. In early September of this year, my friend Elizabeth offered to drive me to their farm, which was located about an hour away. They have extensive orchards of heirloom apples, medlars, and other fruits. We explored a short walking trail, a stone-wall park, and their store, where varieties of in-season fruits were available. On the farm's website, one of their links was to Jane Steward's website. She's a medlar enthusiast from the United Kingdom, author of the book Medlars, Growing and Cooking, and promoter of the benefits of these fruits. I purchased her book to learn more about how to use them. Was that sign I saw at the store a sign for me not to give up on these fruits? I took the challenge, and so now you have this video about them. Medlars are ancient fruits native to Central Asia and Southeastern Europe that have been cultivated for over 3,000 years. If you've ever visited the cloisters in New York City, you may have seen the exquisite early 16th century unicorn tapestries. This detail shows a small medlar tree in the background. This fragment from the 5th tapestry features a woman next to a medlar tree. In the outdoor Bonfont gardens located there, several of these trees line the walkway. During the Middle Ages, they were grown in magnificent gardens. The Dutch artist Adrian Court celebrated them in his still lifes, which he painted in the late 1600s. Rachel Rausch, another Dutch artist from the 1600s, featured medlars in her painting, which she did when only 18 years old. In the early 20th century, they became harder to find. So why did these fruits fall out of favor? Perhaps it was because they had to be harvested when still hard and needed to be softened to be edible. When that happened, fruits looked like deflated basketballs, and thus not particularly inviting. Plus, they may have been replaced with other fruits that were easier to prepare. Medlars are cold weather fruits. They're not common here in Massachusetts, but some people want to bring them back to plant alongside other unusual fruits. These small trees self-pollinate, are pest-free, require a long growing season, and are members of the rose family, which is obvious if you see how similar their fruits resemble those of beach roses. The bright green leaves appear in late April before the flowers. As the season progresses, they provide a rich backdrop and impressive contrast to the flowers, which start to bud and open in mid-May. I sprinkle a few of their fresh, pale white petals as one of several unusual ingredients in my salads. When flowers begin to die back, the fruits start to develop. At this transition stage, they take on an otherworldly appearance, strange, sculptural, and full of promise for the upcoming harvest. At the base of each fruit, there's an open spot. This is surrounded by the calyx, the green triangular shapes left behind where the flower once bloomed. This end is sometimes humorously referred to by the French nickname cul de chien, which politely translated means a dog's rear end. Fruits have little dots on their skins. As their leaves start to fall, fruits may drop to the ground. These are usually still hard and need to be brought inside to ripen. However, a few may have ripened on the tree. If you tug at one or two and they resist, then they're not ready. If they easily release from their branch, they're okay to collect. Wait and wait and wait until late October or November to harvest them. If left on the tree, they resemble miniature Christmas ornaments, which is an attractive addition to the late autumn landscape. Unripe fruits are yellowish-green. As they mature, their skin turns tan, and the inside pulp becomes mushy and brownish-red. Store in a cool, dry place until they become soft, pliable, and fully ripe to the touch. This is the bletting process, which may take a couple of weeks. At this stage, they're squish balls. They'll wrinkle and dry up if left at room temperature. Some people place them with the calyx side down. Others say it doesn't matter. Either way, the fruits shouldn't touch each other. Once they soften, they'll keep for a couple of weeks. Don't give up on them. They may look rotten, but they're edible. Ripe fruits and their pulp also store and freeze well. They're odorless when hard, but when ripe, they have a pleasant aroma, similar to apples, which is another clue they're ready. Hard fruits contain pectin. Ripe ones don't. Fruits are nutritious and high in vitamins B and C. The simplest way to eat them is to suck out the inside pulp and spit out the seeds. To obtain the pulp for future use, cut open the fruits, peel the outer covering back to expose the inside pulp, and drag it out along with the seeds. This is a tedious process. Then put this through a strainer and gather the pulp from the bottom to leave the skins and seeds behind. Here are a few simple ways to use the pulp. Since I usually make applesauce at the same time, I mix it with raw Medlar pulp to create a delicious blend. Pulp also pairs well with other fruits like this Asian pear. One of my favorite combinations is to stir the pulp into yogurt. I also combine it with the pulps of dates and persimmons to add to vanilla ice cream. As an experiment, I spread the pulp on a cracker with a slice of cheese for an unusual appetizer. And for those times when I run out of ideas of what to do with Medlars, I can always count on their dried fruits as a perfect choice for my snowman's eyes. A bit creepy, but certainly different. If you have any recipes for Medlars, be sure to share them in the comments section under my video. I look forward to seeing them.